I tell you, I'm really glad the sun is shining. This is the first week after all the cold that I was experiencing. Things are starting to melt, and I decided to do a video on this main house again. And not much has changed inside, but a lot has changed as far as decision making goes. And I'm not very good at off the cuff videos, so just kind of bear with me as I walk through these decisions, because there's a lot of things that are unseen that within my circumstances that you may not realize as I'm deciding these things. And so I'm just going to get kind of a update shot of everything. Believe it or not, this bathroom is the most finished part of this house, and probably the place that I'm going to finish up everything as much as I can with washer, dryer, and everything. So at least have one room that is fully functional with water, sink, and everything. I'll flip that sink around later, and then it'll be inside here. I'll have another shower that's actually more permanent in the corner. But it's really difficult to share all of my decision making because there's a lot of like financial reasons, my preferences, and a lot of different scenarios, like being around family and around climate and stuff like that. As I learn more about construction, I'm learning that even the very fundamentals of the foundation and construction of this house hasn't been done properly. So, for example, that thing is supposed to have a header over there right in front of that doorway, and this window also doesn't have a header and to support that. And you can kind of see maybe some sagging up there already. It's 100, more of a 100-year-old house, but this side also has that header problem. I think somebody tried to put one in with like a 2x4 there, even the wrong way. So that means those two studs in there are not supporting very much, and the window frame is taking all the force. And then somebody tried to make a header right there and kind of fabricated some stuff together to get the wall even with the drywall, whatever. And then right there should be one as well. And in the very beginning, when I first walked in the house, I showed that window as well. So this is kind of persuading my decision making. So these were cracks that were already there. My parents and we kind of just patched in some things and painted over it, but they're already starting to show up again. So, and I have one on each corner of this room, and they're all showing up again. There's one there, some there. And I know it's not the best idea to, try to redo this room. And when I first started this house, I didn't, of course I didn't know what I was doing, but as I learn, then I know the mistakes of construction workers and people who are trying to repair this thing. And the scenario was that it was always rented out, and the renter didn't really care as long as he was getting rent. So he just patched it up, and there was seemed like 2 or 3 layers of just patch up jimmy rigging work, and there was nothing really fundamentally fixing anything. And I'll even crawl down into the dungeon area and show you how it was working down there. I'm still learning about weight-bearing walls, and I did get a comment, I forget where I read it, but one of you commented on weight-bearing walls on a bungalow house, and pretty much the outer walls on a bungalow house are the weight-bearing walls, and all the center walls are not. But this foundation is unique, and it's weird, and I had to take, the 2.5 years I've been living here to understand what the foundation is doing. And so I'm going to take a quick peek in there with you. And if you're wondering, what I've been spending my time doing rather than renovating this, if you see that shed out there, that little tiny house, that's what I've been spending my time on. And I'll share what I'm going to be doing with that in the future. The other thing I've been spending my time on are my books. I have more in the works. And if you've ever written a book, you'll know exactly how much time that takes and energy. It is insanely hard to write a book. You've got to be... you got to be free from a job, basically, to put that much time and energy into it. But I'm going to try to peek down here just to get an idea. This is going to be confusing. I don't know how it's going to turn out on video, but it gets kind of confusing looking at it because there's so many different things going on. Old supports that have fallen over, and supports that may have originally been there but they're falling over. Bricks that are coming apart. And the floorboard and the board supporting those and it's kind of crumbling over there. And they kind of did a makeshift, just wedging stuff in there on broken brick. Some of it I'm not even know how it's attached. That's a side foundation. They broke through that brick or cinder blocks just for the piping, I think. So I believe that wall is level. They redid this wall a while back, and it looks like that support you wedged that in there. And then that comes out. So they put boards on top of boards and sistered them together kind of with nails, and then I think the nails were just holding up those support boards. A lot of spiders in the way. So hopefully I can get a grasp of what's going on down here, because there's bricks laying everywhere and boards that have supported it before that are laying on the ground. And so I'm going to have to put more supports somewhere, and I'm not even sure how it's attached right here. Maybe with nails or something, or with nothing, I don't know. Maybe that support right there is supposed to hold everything up. Floor over there, there's hardly anything doing anything. So I have to create new supports, and this brick support may have been there since the house has been here. I'm going to go into the dungeon area. Just kind of show you what's really going on. But this part is what I've had to study since I moved in here, because since I didn't know anything about construction, I really had to understand what real construction is supposed to be versus what they've done in the past. And I mean, you can see some patch-up work there on the surface, and that's supporting that. And I have to wiggle some of these once in a while because it's sometimes they're wiggly, not really supporting anything. Let me try to get a light. I wanted this video to be a little more thorough with the foundation, because there's a lot going on down here. And one thing I did do was fix some of the fundamental things down here, and I shoveled a lot of dirt out of here. So it's falling in from the side, stuff like that, and I had to get that water heater and the meter fixed. Sorry, the water pipe heater. Kind of the heater rope, and then I had to fix the sewer and everything. I have videos on that, and the sump pump every area. And so what I saw was, I'll try to describe this as far as the foundation. So this is a little section that they've repaired, and I'm guessing this is for, you know, the minimal, you know, gas requirements for the gas piping and water pipes and stuff like that. I don't know. This is what it probably already looked like. So they had bricks, you know, they stuffed in there, because as the bricks fell out, they stacked them up again. And then there was more brick coming down on the side probably, and they've been breaking off, and the dirt has been dumping down, kind of like that side over there. That hasn't broken down yet. And then it kind of bulges out a little bit. I think that was probably straight before, I don't know. Could have been made like that. But you kind of see up there, that's the actual side of the foundation. And this little step and this side here is just for this dungeon area. It's just for this little crawl space area that kind of surrounds like this little area where the furnace was. And then same with this little wall. So we have kind of a little box with brick for a crawl space area. This is something I didn't understand before. And then over there you've got a little section that's supporting some things, maybe supporting some things up there. And when you bounce on that floor up above, it kind of bounces up and down because there's not much support going on. And that middle section there, you can see it crumbling in. that is like the center of the house right over there, so that corner. So there's a lot of things I would have to break out of here and then put up like a concrete pillar or some of those something like a stronger post or something. Even this temporary post here rotted away down there, and you can see that it's like only got a tiny bit left on that brick to support that, and then that goes up right up to that board that supposedly they tried to support some of the rest of that floor. And but I do have some things fixed enough so it's functional, but that you could see that little part that's ready to just break off. That's going to be a ton of moving brick and dirt, and I did work on these stairs. I have a video of that, but I had to shovel out a ton of dirt that was falling in there and then make those stairs. And during the derecho, this was the spot I had to I was thinking about crouching down into, but that was the best spot I've got. Maybe under those stairs, I don't know. But that's still not a good spot with that wall. I mean, maybe it would have fallen in and hurt me or something. So this is what I've got to work on as far as decision making. And there's not a lot of support. And trying to think of what else I wanted to show around here. The other major thing I had to figure out was this ceiling. May not be able to tell, but it bows in down a little bit on both that side and this side, so I'd have to do kind of like a sistering up with some of the supports up there. But I know those are just the classic 2x4s up there holding it up. I mean, they didn't do much as far as like 2x6s or anything. So that is crazy. So I'd have to take down that whole ceiling and with all the insulation that is pretty rotted, at least on that surface. And then I know they put some new insulation in there. You can probably see the new insulation in between there that they put on top. But it's probably got mold and asbestos or whatever else in there. So it's going to be some major stuff. And then there's, I probably showed you before in my other videos, but this whole side of this wall is being pulled out. And actually, if you walk outside and look at the house as you're driving by, there's a slight lean towards that where it's pulling out there, because this the reason is, you can see where it's pulling it off the wall, that part right there. The reason is because this little section, this I guess pantry area, I've been using this as like a little guest bedroom. So this whole place was an addition, and it doesn't have a foundation, I don't think, over there at all. So over time, naturally that's going to sink down over there, and then this whole thing is gonna start pulling on the whole house, and so that's what that is. So I would have to take that, dig down under, jack it up, over time, and just try to get it back up in there, and put a foundation over there. So there is quite a bit of work here, and I need to, based off of the 3 winters I've been here, that was during this really cold stuff. I had to live in here the first 2 years, and then this last winter I was in my tiny house, which I've already shared the video about that. So, and that was not a pleasant experience either, but I have long-term goals. You can kind of see the foundation sinking in a little bit over here, and this is where the door kind of gets a little off, and then this window, I don't know if you can see that, but it's a little bit tweaked there, and that's probably what broke that window out. And the outside steps were sinking in as well. So you kind of see that. And I don't know if I'll be able to show you sufficiently, but of the, I don't know, maybe the lens on this camera will kind of tweak the image, but it is leaning in a little bit, leaning to the left of the frame there. So yeah, and just so you could see, this foundation on this side looks actually really good, and I don't know how much money that takes to do that, but this is accessible on this side. There's that added pantry area. To see it pulling out up there, that bulging. Looks like they did kind of a footer down there or something, but not much. So my decision making is, I had to talk to a couple people. My brother-in-law, he's got some good ideas for me, and I had to figure out how much work versus how much benefit it is. And for me, I wanted to hold back on that work until I understood what the foundation and the whole house is doing. Because if I did any work here on out, it's just going to be more money, as I put very minimal money into it. I got the main things functioning, like the sewer and the water, and there's going to be some other little things to make it function, but also I didn't mention the electrical, and that's while they have the walls down and it gutted in there, I'm gonna have to redo that wiring. And that's one thing I forgot to say, because you see the old wiring they had in here, and it's kind of pointless to put up the walls and repair it and then not do the wiring. So, because it's got an old electrical panel here, and so, and I was going to redo that, all the water pipes and stuff, but so there's quite a bit to fix, And my debate is, what am I doing? What are my preferences? And what do I what I care about doing? I don't know. I need to decide if this is worth taking down all of the stuff that I walked you through, repairing even the fundamental things that the original builders didn't do, or level it out. And I'm not sure how much that would cost. Luckily, it is a smaller house, so it may not cost as much as a bigger house. I could use the materials in here and build another, little tiny house on the foundation once my tiny house is out of there. Or my garage can be rebuilt into a livable space, which I thought about as well. But who knows how much it's going to cost to tear this down, get everything, cleaned up and everything. And these past few winters, I think I told you in the other videos that I hit my limit with these winters. I've really got to make that tiny house livable as far as the winter. It was a learning experience. It was good that I learned that. But I've got to get a wood burning stove in there. This is the whole purpose of this house, and I want to make sure I explain this because it's super important to understand, is that my circumstances have now changed because I was able to own a house paid off with cash. And even though my original plan of having this renovated and living in it, and even though those future plans of this house isn't working, at least this property, this house, worked like I was hoping. It gave me a stepping stone. It gave me something to work with so that I can move forward, and that's really a valuable lesson to understand. So as soon as you have even like a little cheap property somewhere, if you've got something paid off, it gives you some amount of security and relief, knowing that there is somewhere to go. Even if you really, have to make it work and survive, like, you've got somewhere to go. Even if there's a natural disaster somewhere, there's somewhere to go. I hope this may answer or clarify a lot of things that maybe you're thinking about when you're purchasing a house, or you're trying to free yourself in your life. And I know not everybody's able to do what I've done or am doing, but within your circumstances, you can do something. There are ways, and I've had videos about that, and maybe I'll make more because they're good to know type of resources. Okay, well, this is a long video, but I wanted to make it long because there's a lot to talk about this thing.